hockey friends and families around the world, and welcome to Our Girls Play Goalie. First time I'm ever saying that, a special hybrid edition today that you are not going to want to miss. I'm Lee Elias, joined by Haley Scamora and Mike Benelli, and today's guest is one of the most dominant goaltenders in the world. Boy, it is glad to say that. Also one of the most compelling development stories in the game. Grew up in New York playing boys hockey before leaving home to attend Shattuck-St. Mary's. From there, she went on to Northeastern University, where she won the 2021 Patty Kazmaier Award as a top player in women's college hockey. She's played several world championships, won multiple gold medals, became backbone of Team USA, and just brought home an Olympic gold medal with Haley in Italy in 2026. This is really fun to read. She's only 5'5", and she was told probably a lot that she's too small, but now she's one of the most feared goaltenders in the world. I wrote world, I probably should have put universe. And today we're going to talk about the journey, youth hockey, setbacks, resilience, belief, and what it really takes to build a career in this game. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Olympic gold medalist Aerin Frankel to the show. Aerin, welcome to Our Girls Play Goalie.
Thanks, Lee. I'm excited to be here and chat with you all.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to have you here as well. And again, we've been joking a lot, Aerin, that I'm getting a little too giddy in these opens, but it's really fun to read these types of things. But what I'm excited to talk to you about, and especially for the audience listening, is we always talk about the hockey journey is not a linear path. And while we all know you now, your journey to getting to where you are today is one we can really all learn from. So I want to start out kind of with that, origin story. If you grew up playing boys hockey for years before heading to Shattuck, how did that shape your compete level and your game awareness? And also, for the parents listening, what did that mixed competition build in you?
Yeah, I think everyone's youth hockey journey is a little bit differently. Um, you know, there's no correct route. For me, it made sense to play boys youth hockey. It was really close to home, in a rink I was growing up learning how to skate in. So for me, playing for the Westchester Vipers in New York was a no-brainer, being so close to home. And I think it really helped me at that age to play with the boys. And I think I had other options to go and drive further and play for girls programs. But for my family and I, it just made the most sense to start there. And I only ever played for that youth organization, and had a lot of fun there. And have a lot of coaches to thank along the way who were a part of the Westchester Vipers as well.
How did you decide to go to Shattuck? I feel like that's a huge question we get a lot of the times from parents. How do we know if that's the right move? Did you bring it up? Did they bring it up? How did that kind of come about for you?
Yeah, I was pretty hockey crazy, I would say, when I was around high school age, like my 8th grade year, and my ninth grade year, I was at home in New York still playing boys youth hockey. And I told my parents, I just want to play the most amount of games possible. Where can I go? Where should I go? What's the best option for me to play? And a lot of the New England prep schools that we were looking at were so awesome, especially academically. They were, such well-known schools, but they only played a 30-game season, and they also did the split season with whatever your U16 team, your U18 team. And for me, I was looking at Shattuck because I knew they played 60 plus games in a season, and it was kind of like a hockey factory, and that was just something that really caught my eye. And one of my goalie coaches at the time actually had a relationship with one of the goalie coaches at Shattuck and was like, I'll put you in touch and kind of get the ball rolling. And I visited and just really liked what they had to offer, and again got to play a lot of hockey there, so I was just excited for that.
That's awesome. It kind of sounds like you led the way in that for sure.
Yeah, my parents were not honestly overly excited at the time about sending their 14-year-old off to Minnesota, but I convinced them. I was very persistent, and I told them they could visit a lot. So
Yeah, I mean, so I'm a proud alum. So I built the Westchester Skating Academy back in the '90s, and I think watching players like you and Abby Ives and all the pro, like the Shattenkirks of the world, and all these all these players in the New York, that Westchester area. I'll call it the tri-state area, Lee. But I think it's basically the amount of development that you were able to get at this early age playing again, because that really, as you grew up, there wasn't really a lot of just girls hockey programs that we talk a lot about on the show. And I think an interesting piece about your journey is at the goaltending level, it's probably even less important, don't you think? Like, I mean, do you think you gain the benefits of playing with the boys just because basically in your developmental years, they were probably stronger, the shots are probably heavier, and there was probably just more opportunities for you not to have to travel to go find a girls team somewhere?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I mean, neither of my parents played hockey, so it was kind of new to all of us, like what this correct route was or what I should do, who I should play for. And I think we just kind of settled on the fact that I was having so much fun being with the boys, and like I loved going on the road to tournaments, and like I had so many close friends on that team that it was like, why would I leave something so great? Like obviously I started there when I was only like 6 or 7 years old, but we kind of had that same core that started together as mites and squirts. Like we played almost all of us together until we were bantams, until we went away to in our different directions. So it just seemed like everything was so nice there, and it was a great setup that it just made sense to stay.
Yeah, so yeah, I think going into my actual question probably then would be, you probably didn't have to face a lot of adversity until you got to Shattuck. Like you probably were in a place where you were the best goalie in the building. I'm sure everybody wanted you to stay. You're just like, okay, well, we really like this girl. She's really good. She doesn't need to go anywhere. But now here you are transitioning to Shattuck and having a more competitive opportunity, and then you go and get cut from the like. So I'll preface this by saying you get cut from the 2022 Olympic team, which already is unbelievable that you're even in the discussion of trying out for the 2022 Olympic team. I'm just wondering, what did that piece of that adversity do for you? As you now had to say, well, listen, I know I could play at this level. All the naysayers are talking about height and the level of play and where I'm at. Like, what was the driving force in the positive way that you learned or took, from being cut from that team?
I think it was disappointing for sure, but I knew I was still really young and in, the middle of my hockey career. And I obviously then set my goals on the next opportunity to be at the Olympics, which is 2026. And I kind of used it as motivation. I took the feedback that I got from all the coaches there, and I really took it to heart and like worked with my coaches back home. And I was like, hey, I want to check these boxes like of XYZ, what they gave me to work on, so that maybe next time I'm not in this situation. But I also took with me a lot of experience, like the nerves I felt in 2022. I haven't felt since then, like I remember feeling that nervous. And then since then I haven't felt that nervous because getting that experience of being at that Olympic tryouts and just the competitive environment that it is, and at times stressful, it helped me navigate this Olympic experience.
Aerin, I want to say I love that you brought this up. There's this funny quote. Again, I'm a geek, right? In one of the Avengers movies, where one of the characters, I know Haley always laughs when I bring this up. I've joked we should call her Skamora Gamora, for those of you out there who knows what I'm talking about. Fiercest lady in the galaxy. Anyway, there's this great moment where the bad guy asks a character, like, if you consider failure experience, right? And he says, I consider experience.
Mhm.
Right. And I love that you brought that up, because I think for a lot of young players, they view what many people would call a quote unquote failure, like not making the team, as just that. It's failure. And it's not. It's experience. You were there. You felt the feelings. You understood what it was to both not make the team and make the team. But all of that is experience to prepare you. So can you talk to maybe like the families, right, about, especially the kids that listen to the show, about how like the path is not all wins. All right, you have to experience both to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, and I think it's important, like, to acknowledge the fact that there will be disappointment and frustration, and that's just normal. And obviously, when you care so much about something and you put so much training into it, like, you're gonna experience disappointment. It would almost be weirder if you didn't. So just like processing those emotions, like knowing that's normal, and then kind of flipping the page to what you can do next, to move in the direction of your goals. And for me, it was just like to keep playing hockey and keep having fun with the sport, and trying to work on the things that I was told I could improve on. And at the time, I agreed. I think with all of it, I was just like, yeah, honestly, so fair. So I think a lot of my development happened between 2022 and 2026.
Awesome.
For you, obviously, like people have talked about your height and stuff. Like, was there a time in your career like where you realized that like people were kind of using that against you as a goalie? And then did you kind of develop anything either technically or mentally to kind of help you to thrive and like use that to your advantage?
Yeah, I think I first remember kind of like hearing about that like during the college recruitment process. Um, like when I would talk to coaches and stuff, like they would make comments like you're just on the smaller side and like we need to be like sure that like, you know, you're making up for it in other ways kind of thing. And I think that's also really why like I fell in love with Northeastern and the idea of playing for Coach Flint because he saw other aspects of my game that he thought were more important, kind of going off your question, like my competitiveness and like skating ability, like two things that I am always working on, I think have helped me maybe like make up for lack of size. And I think just um I never really like let it get to me because I kind of was just like, so what? Like obviously being on the smaller side is what it is. But like I always saw other smaller players having so much success, like Kendall and um there was just so many that I was just like, yeah, I mean it's a different position, but I don't think it's ever really held anyone back. So that was kind of my mindset.
Yeah, I want to say too, Aerin, real quick. We know a lot of, especially goaltenders, that are under this belief now that you have to be 6'5" to even be considered. And look, you're one of them. There's several goalies that have proven that to be untrue. So I love that you're talking about like how that came up internally, right? I just love how chill you are with it. It's like, that wasn't going to hold me back, right? How would you explain that calmness to youth players that think, man, if I'm not 6'5", I'm never going to make it?
I think I would just say like that like my like confidence comes obviously like from within yourself and like I put a lot of um emphasis on my preparation. So like I knew I was working really hard and in practice and working on my game so that I didn't think my size was ever going to be an issue because I was putting in extra work and I don't know if my size would have been an issue or how else it could have gone, but like I just think not focusing on it was almost better for me.
Right.
It was like I'm just gonna work on all these other things that I know I need to do to be successful, and hopefully the rest will like take care of itself.
Well, what I love about that is you talk a lot about limiting beliefs, right? And that you did not allow that to become a limiting belief. And I think that with a lot of youth players today, and I hear it from them, like, well, I can't do this because of this. And it's like, yeah, if you think that way, you're definitely not going to do it, right?
Mhm.
So I just think it's important, like, to hear what Aerin said there, kids, like that, no, you put the work in. It's simple. Haley has talked about this on numerous shows. You have to put the work in. It doesn't that you don't let these limiting beliefs stop you. And Haley, I'm sure you were told we've had conversations about this, like you're not good enough or you can't make it. So
Mhm.
you can't allow those limiting beliefs to hold you back.
And I'm wondering, Aerin, too. Just based off of what advice you would give to an undersized goalie. Going through the goalie coaching search like that. A lot of these goalie coaches now have become very cookie cutter, right? They're just like, okay, big kid, play this way. I'm going to fit you into the net, as opposed to take your athletic ability and then build my development structure around you. What kind of advice would you give to a 12, 14, 16-year-old women's hockey goalie on, how to not let yourself get, put into the same undersized, in our case, like just in a place where, you can still get the development out of your coaching staff without having to try to fit somebody else's mold.
I think the goalie coaches that I gravitated towards most were ones that accepted me for my style and my size and just wanted to like work within that and help me be the best goalie that I could be. And I was really lucky to have like so many great goalie coaches along the way, and none of them, I mean, I think over the years, yeah, they've referenced me being on the smaller side, but they never like said, well, because you're small, you have to play this way, or because you're small, like you're gonna struggle with this. And like I think that's why like I gained more confidence in myself is because I had those positive influences. And I think if you have a coach that's not, you know, being positive and pumping you up, then maybe it's just not a good fit. And I think, yeah, like I said, I was really lucky to have coaches that just wanted to focus more on like taking me as a goalie and helping me get better. And obviously can't control size, so that was not really ever a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. And the reason you're so good is that it's like your instincts. Like she's just naturally instinctual on plays and athletic, and she attacks the puck. Like she doesn't like let it come to her. Like she's always attacking. So I just feel like it was super important for you to have coaches that, cultivated that within you and didn't try to like hold you back and change your style. So I think that's a huge kind of piece to focus on there.
Yeah, and like goaltenders is like such a niche kind of thing,
Mhm.
and but you see it with forwards and defensemen too, like the size conversation or other things. So I think, yeah, we all have dealt with it, but obviously for goalies, it's just, yeah, we're a special breed.
I want to fast forward to 2023. You're starting in 5 straight games at Worlds. Like I remember that moment. Like I was so excited for you. We were all so pumped after not really having played. So kind of wanted to just talk about like what was that difference in your mindset, in your preparation, your perspective from not making that Olympic team to then like you're starting all 5 games at a World Championship.
Yeah, I was definitely like a little surprised to learn that like I was going to be the starter at that Worlds, but I was really excited, and I recall leaning on my teammates a lot when I was nervous, and a lot of them had been there before and had experience at the World Championship level, so that was the biggest thing for me, was just leaning on them and relying on their experience to help me, because I was confident. I had always practiced with these players and played in rivalry series before, but had never played at a world championship. So I think some normal nerves, but also just was really excited for the opportunity.
I have to preface this next question here, Aerin, because we do have a very large Canadian viewership, and I listen to my friends in Canada. We are going to talk about the Olympics. I always feel like we have to preface this though, like, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, right? It is such an honor to play against Canada, right? With the history of Hockey Canada, that our success in the last Olympics is, I always struggle with the words here, right? It's like there's so much respect for Hockey Canada and what Hockey Canada has established. So please know when I gush, even in the open, how much respect I have for hockey, above the border here. Okay, but we have to bring this up, right? The Olympics just passed. Aerin, you had some amazing things happen at this Olympics. First shutout against Canada in the history, to my knowledge, of the Olympics from the USA. Not to mention, obviously, the gold medal. I'm so interested in this whole journey seems to culminate in this moment. Obviously, we've talked to Haley about this too. You seem so calm, right? Were you in a flow state? Were you fighting adrenaline? How much of that moment is years of preparation versus just being present? I know Haley has talked about just the aura of that team throughout the entire games, of just the belief and the ability. And again, it is I've dubbed it this the most dominant Olympic performance in history, right? So from a position of you're in the net every game, did it just flow? Did you have to calm your nerves at times? Did the moment attack you? I mean, how did you compartmentalize that as the netminder?
I had so much trust in our team. We had been getting better and better every single game, and all the work that we put in over the last 4 years, I think the result was kind of going to take care of itself. And we knew that we didn't really leave anything on the table. Like everyone away from the team was putting in extra work to be prepared. And you just kind of know that when you get back together with the group, that everyone's going to be ready to go. And it's such a nice feeling to not even have to worry about that. Like you just know everyone sitting in that locker room is prepared, and we're all on the same page. And so from my perspective, obviously, like being in the net, I just had so much faith I just had so much faith in my teammates, and it was fun to play behind them.
Now, Haley, I'm going to turn this to you too, because I'm just some schmo that watched it on TV. You were not even just there; you were on the ice. So let me ask you this: in an Olympic level, you mentioned it a little bit before. Can you talk about that trust that she just mentioned? Because obviously you had that trust in her. what is it? Oh, geez, how do I frame this question, right? It's like, can you even begin to describe what it's like to play in front of a world-class goaltender as a world-class player?
I don't know if there's words, honestly. Just like what she can do back there for us, it's insane, because then it
Right.
just allows us to play more free. But we give up like a really good chance in front of the net because we're playing so free. We just know she's back there and staying calm. I think that's also a huge asset in her game, is like how calm she is back there. You can feel the calmness. It resonates throughout the team. And so when your goalie's like that, it helps you play your best hockey. And she's always like that back there for us. Like, honestly, she's one of the most chill goalies that I know. Like, you can't get to her. She's hanging out before the game, chat with everyone. Like, she is just like cool as a cucumber.
Thanks, scams.
I will say that at least in the modern era, that typically is the recipe, right? Like the I think the days of like Patrick Waugh throwing the benches and things like that have passed by. But I want to actually equate this to youth hockey, because especially with goaltenders, when I coach goaltenders, and Aerin and Haley, I'm going to ask you your opinions on this, right? Like my belief is, as the goalie goes, the team will go. All right. If a bad goal goes in and the goalie has a freak out, it's going to be very hard for us to mentally get back in that game. Adversely, if something happens and the goalie has, hey, you know what? Let's keep going. Let's keep playing. And I always tell those goalies, keep an even-keeled mindset, be the best teammate you can be on the ice, and make sure that, for the players, we support that goaltender. So based on what you just both said about trust, calm, cool as a cucumber, let's talk to that youth hockey audience, because this is a skill set that is completely ignored, I think, at the youth levels. It's all about stats, which makes no sense to me, right? I've never seen great youth goalie stats that are accurate, by the way. You got one game with 75 shots, one with 12, one with none.
That's only if the dad does the scoring.
Right. So can you? We'll go. I'll go to both of you here. Aerin, I'll start with you. Think about like youth hockey groups as a team, right? Like, how do you bring in that calmness? Where could they even start when you have like a rowdy bunch of kids in the locker room?
I think you touched on it a little bit, being a good teammate and how important that is. Like, it's a contagious thing. When you're going out of your way to be nice to people and support each other. And I have to add how important it is to have that good relationship with your goalie partners too, because the most successful teams I've been on, there's been such good camaraderie between the goalies. And I think sometimes at a young age that gets away from us a little bit, because you get caught up in who's the starter and who's playing. But at the end of the day, I think regardless of the role you're in, like your perspective and how you treat your teammates should never change. And I think, a good reminder is like, if you're in practice and you find yourself like getting frustrated and emotional, well, then you're probably going to in a game as well. So just practicing, I guess, those good habits every day so that it translates to a game.
No, I love that. And I just want to mention this too, because I know two youth goaltenders come to my mind right away, where one of them was all about stats and one of them was not. Like, we almost like oblivious. And at some point in the season, the goalie that was about stats, good kid, by the way, just followed his stats, kind of got the other goalie to start looking at his stats. And guess what started to happen? He started playing worse because he was thinking about it, right? Oh, that's another to my GAA, blah, 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 blah. To me, it wasn't done maliciously, but that's not being a great teammate in that situation, right? Like the stats will take care of themselves. I think that's really important. Haley, I'd love your thoughts on this too.
Like in terms of like looking at stats.
Yeah. No. Well, I meant like just more youth hockey and like creating that bond and how important that bond is to succeeding.
Yeah, I think the bond is so important. And I think, the team camaraderie piece, like looking back on youth hockey, like those are the favorite memories that you remember. And that's what you want to really cultivate within a team. And I think that comes from, hanging out in the locker room, hanging out at hotels, like playing knee hockey in the hallways of your hotel, going to the pool. Like, I don't know, there was just so many memories that you kind of remember from that. And I think when you are closer off the ice, you see the translation on the ice. Like, that's usually the best teams are the ones that are the closest in the locker room. So I just think it's so important to cultivate.
Yeah. Well, and that's like my word of the month right now. Like that culture, like when you watch like the UCLA women's winning, and you see the U.S. Olympic women's hockey team winning gold, and you see these champions, and the common theme across all these championship teams is positive self-talk. I will do this, manifesting where they want to be. That happens as a team. And I guess on our little crossover episode here, Aerin, from our girls play hockey and our girls play goalie, how important that is in that aspect of that team, aspect of when you get to the Olympic level. But do you think, and did you maybe have this experience at the youth level where it wasn't just about how many camps I got to go to, how many weekend showcases do I need to go to, who is my goalie partner, what's my hockey rankings? Don't you think we could spend all this other effort and time and investment on the culture of our teams, which would really end up where we want to be in the long run?
Yeah, I mean, like Scam said, I have so many memories from youth hockey, obviously some on the ice, but also so many that took place running around hotels and tearing up, New England Sports Center in Marlborough. So there's a lot of memories that go, that are way more impactful that are not related to stats or wins or losses. And I think that's an important thing for the kids to hear, and just having fun and enjoying it. Like, I think we're all playing our best when we're having fun, and you want to be, a pleasant person to be around. And I think the best teams are ones that have that kind of light, carefree energy. And I know the teams that I've been a part of, that's been, one of my favorite things about the locker room is just, everyone gets along and there's always good vibes, and you can feel when there aren't too. So I think it's important to celebrate it when you have a good culture.
Yeah, I'm wondering, when you go back to your youth hockey days, like if you had to right now, like you have all these parents listening, right? And they have their daughter who says, "I want to be a goalie. I want to do what Aerin Frankel did." That's unbelievable. Like, what would you tell a parent right now to prioritize in their daughter or their son at that young age, at 9, 10, and 11? Like, what would you prioritize, do you think, to mold and build that goalie from scratch? Like, what are some of the recommendations you might give, based off your own experience and the experience of all these great teammates you've had?
I think just controlling what you can control and staying present. Like, I think we're all kind of guilty of wasting energy on things that are outside of our control. And, you look back on it and you're like, why did I care so much about that tough game I played 2 weeks ago? Like, you turn the page, you move on from it. So I think it's an important reminder to just try to put all your energy towards the things that you can control. And yeah, just having fun too. Like, I mean, that's why we play and that's why we all started. So if you're not having fun and you're not enjoying it, then kind of what's the point?
Aerin, one of the exercises that I love to do with teams when I do team building is I'll draw this gigantic circle on a whiteboard, huge, as big as I can draw. And in the middle, I'll draw a really small circle, maybe just a little bit bigger than a puck. And I'll ask the team, tell me all the things that you have no control over, right? It could be hockey, and it's like weather, politics, referees, opponents, and it's like you could go forever, right? Traffic. And I get them to really list these things, right? And then I have them list in the small little circle. Okay, tell me the things you actually do control. And in some form, it always comes down to three things: your effort, your mindset, and your diet. And diet can consist of food and information. And I tell them that is it. It's actually quite small, the things you control.
Mm-hmm.
And I said the sobering thought, and I'm telling this to the audience too, right, is that a majority of people don't just spend some time worrying about what they don't control. They spend a lifetime worrying about what they don't control. Parents listening, think about when you drive, how angry you might get at things you don't control. Or if it's raining outside, those people who are like, "Oh, it's raining outside." You have no control over the weather, right? I'm not saying you got to love the rain. Don't get me wrong, all right? But if you can only focus, if you can make that small circle your entire universe, it is life-changing. And I'm not, just talking about hockey right now, right? So when we coach young people, it's like, hey, don't worry about your last shift's over. It's done, all right? Same thing with my son's a goaltender. I've been asked so many times, how are you so calm as a goalie parent? I'm like, because the puck's going to go in the net from time to time. And I'm like hyper aware that that's going to happen. And it's okay. It's not the end of the world, because all that matters is what's happening right now. Right. So I love that you said that. And I'm also getting on a soapbox here, because like every top athlete we talk to says these things. Focus on the things you can control. That's it. It's a simple philosophy, very hard to implement, but you got to practice like most things. Right? Catch yourself being upset that it's snowing outside or too hot or too cold or whatever you want. All right. I'm going to change gears here. This is going to be a little bit of a two-part question. And I'll ask the first part like this. We had talked to Haley, and I really can't wait to get your perspective on this. One of the unique things about this season particularly, and we're in the 25-26 season, it's first time ever, professional women's hockey, PWHL hockey, coincides with the Olympics. And both of you have talked about the camaraderie of your team. Well, in the past, you've had a 6-month run-up to the Olympics where you're together all the time, playing all the time. And now it's a lot different. You're playing on different teams. You're in different cities. You have the rivalry tour. You have a little bit of a training camp for the Olympics, but it's nothing like it was in years past. So how did the camaraderie and the team cohesiveness survive that, knowing that, you know, and we'll talk about it in a minute, that you're competing against each other as much as you're playing with each other?
I think personally, like when I was in other markets, like I would grab coffee or grab dinner with teammates to stay connected and checking in with them. But I think we always knew that everyone was kind of doing their work at the rink, even in their respective markets. So that was never a concern. And then obviously when we went to these training camps, you know, we did some fun stuff together as a team. Like we played a golf tournament, like a scramble. We went to a concert. Like we were just doing a lot of fun things together and enjoying the time that we had. And you know, I have a few teammates from the US team on my Boston team, so also get to spend all year round with them. But it's definitely hard when you don't have that 6-month buildup, like you said, but taking advantage of the time that we did have together.
Yeah, and you know, I love that you mentioned your team, because we're going to go into that in a second. You know, it's funny. You know, you go back to Boston, you've got some teammates there. Haley has to go back to Montreal, stare Poulin in the eye every night as a teammate, right? It's just an interesting, and obviously, I'm sure there's nothing but respect there, Haley.
Hangs her gold medal in her stall. You know, I get it.
It's just like in Montreal, right? So Haley, actually, I heard you got a pretty warm welcome back there, which is pretty cool. So let's have some fun here, because I want to echo what you just said about meeting teammates for dinner. When we're recording this, which is mid-April 2026, Haley's on Montreal, Aerin, you're in Boston. You guys are fighting for the top of the league positioning right now, and your games against each other are pretty legendary. All right, like this is like, and you're on a podcast together right now, and you can tell you guys are great friends. I mean, it's an amazing lesson in both humility, teamwork, but also the type of competitors that you are. Okay. And so, like, you know, when you're teammates, obviously you're locked in, you're trying to accomplish something together. But now you're in the PWHL, rivals, like extreme rivals. Like you're both trying to win this year. What is that energy shift like? And then I know you talked about this a little bit. I do want you to talk about how you separate friendship from competition, because I think that I always love the answers we get to that, because I think it does shock the young kids that play about how those two things can exist. So let's talk about, what is that energy shift like? You guys are going to face off against each other soon, right? How do you do that? Aerin, I'll start with you. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think just, you know, I love scams, and the bond that you have, like representing your country with someone, is something that will like last a lifetime, and you have so many shared experiences together, and I think it's a lot of fun. Although I'd rather play with my US teammates than against them. It's our games are incredible against Montreal and other teams in this league. So that's what makes sports so fun, is especially with this pro league, is that, you know, there's going to be constant roster movements, and we have no idea what our team's going to look like year to year, just because of how fast we're expanding. So I think it's just, being grateful for how fun like our games are and the rivalry that we have, and that it exists. It's cool and should be celebrated. And then when we get to put on the jersey together, just enjoying that too.
Ellie, I got to ask you as well. It's a two-person question.
Oh, I mean, it was definitely really hard, like right after the Olympics. Like, I think first game back, like that was definitely a weirder shift. I'm like, oh, I have to hit you. Like, oh man, like this is crazy. But then, like,
I love that you. I have to hit you.
it's happening.
Yeah,
like,
sorry.
I'm coming. But then as the games have gone on, it's gotten better. And then, like with Aerin, obviously, like I'll go to the net front and I just smile at her. Like you just kind of share that like moment together.
Right.
Like obviously I'm not checking Aerin, but I'm trying to
That
score
would be a
on her.
penalty
But
difference,
yeah, she'd block me. It's all right. But yeah, or her team would come in and hit me pretty good. So no, it's honestly like really fun to play against your friends, I think, if you
Right.
look at it in that way. And I think I actually liked what you have said before, Lee, is that it's like a sign of respect to play your hardest. And if you're
Right.
not playing your hardest against your friends, you're doing a disservice. So it's like I've actually been using that a lot because I think there were times where maybe I wouldn't want to, play hard
Yeah.
against them necessarily. But I think now it's like, no, that's my game. I'm a physical player. Like that's what you're gonna get. And like that's why you love me on your team and you might not like me when I'm playing against you. And that's kind of the fun of it, right? But I remember I shared a moment with Meg Keller, like I was net front, someone was attacking me, she kind of like yanked my jersey back a little. She goes, love you. So you can like have those fun little moments, right? Where it's like you're still playing intense with each other. I was still forechecking her hard and playing physical against her. But then, there's moments after the whistle where you can kind of like laugh it off a little bit, So
Yeah.
I think it's a great lesson for athletes to know at the youth level and the non-professional level that you can be competitive but also be empathetic. Like you can be in a situation where you can battle and to Lee's point too, that you respect the person you're playing against and they should respect you enough to know that, listen, I'm out here, I want to win. Like that's what I love about you. I want to win. Like my job is to win this game. And again, it does, I think when you watch certain levels of hockey, depending on where the competition is and where the game is and how much time's left and what the game means in the scheme of things, some people lose their minds for a little bit. But I think at the end of the day, you come back to breathing. It's over. The game ends out. And that's the beauty of it. I think that's why people outside of the sport of hockey, it's so hard for them to understand that two groups of individuals just tried to kill each other and then they have a handshake at the end. And then they probably go on to dinner, right afterwards. So it's like, it's a really hard concept for people not in the sport of hockey to get the fact that you can compete this hard. And to, what Lee was saying earlier, right, Aerin, is like you're in the Olympics and this year in particular, everyone in the Olympics was probably playing pro too. Like they're all on these teams. So it's such a different dynamic. But it really just shows, how much you can be a competitor and have some great sportsmanship at the same time. And that's the beauty about, being in our sport.
I'm going to pull the thread on this just a little bit more because I really want the youth players listening to understand. One of the things I realized as I got older is I was extremely competitive growing up. I still am, but just in a more mature way, I guess you could say. But I remember the opponents that I don't want to use the word hate. It's too strong. But the opponents I really wanted to beat, like I really had a grudge. I got older and I realized, man, and they wanted that against me too. That sharpened me. Like that made me a better player. And so now when I look back at it, I think there was a lot of anger there as a kid. It's like, man, like without that opponent, I don't think I would be as good as I am today. We drove each other, even though we didn't like each other. We drove each other. And I think if I saw some of these people now, like I want to take them out to coffee and talk about those days. And I think what's really such a great example from YouTube, right, is that this scenario could very well happen. A moment where Haley may have a breakaway on Aerin. It is absolutely plausible that could happen. And what's amazing about you two is that I know Haley wants to score on you, Aerin, as much as you want to stop Haley. Excuse me. And there's no other way you two would want it, right? And Haley, you kind of alluded to it. It would be almost disrespectful. It would be disrespectful if she didn't give you her best, right? And vice versa. Yep. Excuse me. Young athletes, you can duplicate this. And at the end of the day, and this is where I'm trying to get to, this comes from a place of gratitude. I want your best because it's going to make me better. And I'm thankful for that. I have found that, kids, to be more of a motivator than negative emotion. And I'm going to say it again. Negative emotion can give you a little boost, like for a very short amount of time. Like I call it hulking up. But it fizzles away very quickly. Whereas gratitude is eternal. It's ongoing. It doesn't stop, right? It's not always easy, but it doesn't stop, right? And no, I'm not saying you should say, oh, I'm so thankful we lost this game. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying find the learning in that situation, right? And you can be thankful for that. So I'm saying this because I'm a fan of both of you. I'm amazed by the level that you and all the other women in this league do that, right? Because the league continues to grow. Women's hockey continues to grow. I wanted to talk about this too. I wrote this down. The attendance record has been broken like 4 times this season, right? Sold out game in MSG, sold out game in Washington. Aerin, I'm sure you've been in a few as well, right? When it's happening as often as it is, and we're sealing, I don't want to call it glass ceiling, but the standard is rising and rising and rising. How do you both like compartmentalize that? Is it exciting? Is it got to keep it going? Is there a seriousness to that? Is there a responsibility to that? Is it all of that? Because I don't remember any kind of a growth of a league like this. And I'm talking in all sports, right? This is fast growing and popular. Aerin, I'll start with you. Again, this is a monumental year in women's sports and women's hockey.
Yeah, I think we all knew that this was the landscape that was eventually going to come into fruition. It was just a matter of time and all the work put in behind the scenes to get the CBA in place and to get all the details squared away for this league. And I think now it's just a matter of enjoying it. And you touched a little bit on the responsibility, and I think we all have responsibility to be professionals and perform our best and also be good representatives of this league. And I think so many of our players do give back into the community and go out of their way to do a lot of things in their market, which also helps continue to grow women's hockey. And I think the fans that come to our games, they always come back. I think once they come, they realize kind of what the lure is and how fun it is. And it's exciting. And I think also a unique part of the PWHL is like a lot of our players have such great personalities off the ice, and I think it's awesome to see like the fans want to learn about you as a person. And I think it's just there's so much momentum in women's sports, and we're gonna keep trying to build it.
Are you telling me that hockey players with personalities is a good thing? Is that what you are trying to say after all these years?
Yeah.
I love that. Haley, I want to ask you too, because again, like it's funny. I feel like every time we do an episode, some other record has been broken. And but I'm going to ask this a little bit differently. Do you get jealous? Isn't the right word, but when you see that, are you like, well, I'm going to get the next one. I want to be at the next record-breaking game.
I mean, I was definitely jealous of Madison Square Garden a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I also got emotional watching that one. I thought that was there was something just special about seeing that because we had also been there years ago with the PWHPA showcase when it was COVID and no one could come to the game, and that's when we were fighting for a league. So to see us sell out Madison Square Garden with all the work that got put in, that was like 5 years of us playing showcases, like not playing actual professional hockey. Like that is mind-boggling. And now we're here. And so I think that was a really huge full circle moment. TD Garden we just played at, unreal. Like I think it was just so fun to play at like a home rink of someone. Like so for Boston, like they did our starting lineups and we're getting booed. I'm like, this is so cool. Like this is amazing, like so it's just like not taking those moments for granted. And it's all excitement though. There's no like pressure in any way because it's like we've been here. This is what we've been doing. And now people are just realizing it and they're getting addicted to coming to games and things like that. So it's all exciting and it's wonderful and we're very grateful for it. But yeah, we want to keep pushing and keep growing more.
No, I love it. And look, I like to say things like this because there's always idiots out there. Selling out Madison Square Garden is not an easy thing to do. All right. Selling out any NHL arena where it's not the NHL team is not an easy thing to do. 20,000 tickets is a lot. All right. And not only has the PWHL done that, I think like 6 times this year or something crazy like that, they continue to do it. And the reason I'm bringing that up, and again, this is a positive, not a negative, is that this is year 3 and it's just growing and growing and growing. This is not a fluke. You still hear that crap out there. I'm like, no. This would have fizzled out a while ago if it was a fluke. It's not. The game is growing. And here's the other thing, and I'm going to pay you two a compliment on this one. We watch the games at home. All right. My daughter, my son, my wife, and myself. It is a family affair. You're not just growing women's hockey. You're growing hockey, right? And when the game grows, it's good for everybody. All right. And again, you can attribute that to everyone involved. And I think it's amazing. So I'm going to say it as the host and as a hockey coach and as a dad. Thank you for that. Right. I love that my son knows the teams and he wants to watch. Same thing with my daughter. I also love that my daughter is now living in a world, Haley has heard me say this, where playing professional hockey is the norm. Not a dream. It's like, oh, I could do that one day. She said that to me. And I'm like, yeah, you can do that because she's seen it. And you are always trailblazing every time you take the ice, ladies. And it's like, thank you. As a hockey person, thank you for doing that. We're coming up on time here. So I'm going to go around the horn here if anybody has any final questions, because I am taking up most of the oxygen here. And Mike is smiling at me. So, Mike, do you have something to say?
No. Listen, this is the kind of stuff that gets you, I think people that are new to the women's game, and certainly Aerin more, right, than Haley, where like Erin's came into an era where, when she went to college, she was like, you could actually play pro. Like you could go to college and go play pro. Where like these, like when I was with, I distinctly, like as you're, Haley, as you're mentioning, just Madison Square Garden, and I refer to it the Fleet Center, but the TD Garden. But when you're referring to these places, I was on the bench with the Connecticut Whale on the coaching staff, and I could hear people speaking behind me in like the 17th row of the Danbury Ice Arena. So for that to go from there in a very short period of time, we're not talking decades. We're talking about like just the span of a player playing in college, basically, that you could see that shift and that change. It really does it really just grows the impact even more about how important it is to continue to do those things and not rest on the fact that, we've reached this pinnacle. It's just but there's a lot of pressure with that too. It's just an ongoing, drive to find the next level of where women's hockey can go. And hopefully we're seeing that filter down to how much better can we get the girls' game to a point where we're producing great professional world-class athletes right here and then filling these rosters. So it is wild, and it's really it's really cool to watch, both of you being in the lifespan of this thing happening and watching it grow from a non-women's professional hockey player perspective.
Haley, any final thoughts from you?
No, just thank you so much for coming on, Aerin. I really appreciate it, and love playing with you, and kind of like playing against you, I guess. Get used to it.
After
course.
the season, you can talk.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a lot of fun.
No, and I'll say it to all the listeners. Again, we're recording this in mid-April. Both teams qualified for the playoffs on here, Montreal and Boston, and maybe we'll have to do a postseason episode. See how that ends up. But man, I cannot wait to see where you both, to be fair, go from here. But Aerin, you specifically, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and talk to us. I know a lot of our audience looks up to you and believes in you and what you're doing out there. So thanks for being here.
Thanks, Lee. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, that's going to do it for this edition of Our Girls Play Goalie, the first type of episode we've ever done like that. Remember, if you have any questions for us, you can email us at team@ourkidsplayhockey.com, or a new feature, if you go to the link accompanying this episode in the description and click on that, you can write us a message. We can write you back. You can even leave a voice message, and we'll talk about that on the episode, or just talk back to you one-on-one. That's what you're looking for. But for Aerin Frankel, Haley Scamora, Mike Bonelli, I am Lee Elias. We will see you on the next edition of Our Kids Play Hockey, Our Girls Play Hockey, Our Kids Play Goalie, or the Ride to the Rink. Pick your poison. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. Make sure to like and subscribe right now if you found value wherever you're listening, whether it's a podcast network, a social media network, or our website, ourkidsplayhockey.com. Also, make sure to check out our children's book, When Hockey Stops, at whenhockeystops.com. It's a book that helps children deal with adversity in the game and in life. We're very proud of it. But thanks so much for listening to this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey, and we'll see you on the next episode.